Hey everybody, it's David Eisner, and today I just want to shoot a video about, just what's going on in the crypto market. We take kind of like a 12,000, 35,000 foot view of it, and also what's going on in the altcoin market, and kind of take a look at those just to see where, are altcoins showing any life? The last time I updated, it was like, not really. Of course, we were in the face of this massive rally from Bitcoin, and altcoins have a lot of trouble going anywhere when it's like that. And now that we've had a very substantial pullback in Bitcoin, what's it looking like in altcoins? And I think that's a really important thing for us to take a look at. Now, what is this crazy chart that I have up? It's basically a comparison between the NASDAQ bubble and the bust, and Bitcoin bubble and the bust, if you want to call it that. Of course, the way that the NASDAQ really played out is, if we go, it's this blue line here, is that it actually went to new highs, right? So when we look at Bitcoin, we're not, for me, I'm not so concerned that it came all the way back and retraced this range. Oh, look, I got my mouse back. This is going to happen like every video, right? So it did retrace this range, but does that mean that we're a long-term bear now? Like, are we, we're in a trading range, as I said on my last video. We're between the major low of probably somewhere in the 200s to the major high of 20,000-ish, and now we're in a trading range. And until we break out of this range, which you can count it as the 200 low there, or maybe this peak right here around $1,200, but until we break out of that range convincingly and close there on the monthly, we're really in a trading range. And these things take a lot of time to kind of play out and create a new trend. And with the NASDAQ, that's exactly what happened. And actually, this is a 4-to-1 chart, right? I'm doing it weekly compared to monthly, which is almost 4-to-1, right? Because it's my theory that Bitcoin is open 4 times that's not a theory. Bitcoin is open for trading 4 times as often as the NASDAQ is, or the stock market. And so my theory that it goes along with that is that basically the price action is going to move 4 times as fast. And I drew this study way back when, and what was kind of interesting is that the NASDAQ kind of came down and hit this low, and then just decided to kind of move up, and you can see that I have bull resumes. Now, what else we have plotted on here is Martin Armstrong's economic confidence model turning points at these yellow lines, and this very, very key purple line right there. And you can see that it is no coincidence that this purple line turning point with the economic confidence model is lining up with what would be the massive turning point in the NASDAQ, right? That if we go back and look at the NASDAQ, this is the blue line, and basically what this says is it kind of went, had a rally from here, and it was kind of not a super steep rally, but it kind of went back and forth. Now, what's interesting is right around this peak, right? We have the Bitcoin kind of blow off top coming in, right? I would not be surprised if we came back down, kind of hit to maybe this resistance level a little bit. I'm going to show you the short that I have working right now, and then actually rally up to a lower high into this red bar, and then just absolutely crap out to actually, when I drew this line, it was to a lower low, and this is, or it came here and challenged these lows over here, right? And that was on the NASDAQ. So I would not be surprised if we absolutely crapped out in horrendous fashion all the way down to these lows. And potentially, and when I say horrendous fashion, because this is September and this is January, okay? So if we just absolutely shit the bed, I could see us even breaking these lows or coming back down and testing this 200 period moving average on the weekly. You can see how well Bitcoin just so politely just came right off that 200 period moving average. I mean, it's kind of insane. And you know, where will it be by the time we're up here? Could it be like right here at the $5,000 mark? You know, you can see that. I also have this 19 simple moving average, and that's much higher, but that's more of a regression to the mean. So we can go right through that, and then if we go right through that, well, then we might expect a bounce up. But I want you to just look at what happened to the NASDAQ afterwards, right? Like, this is what happened. And you can see through this next cycle, it was like almost straight bull. Now, is that definitely going to happen? Absolutely not. This is just a theory. But this is actually pretty fascinating how this is playing out. Now, it could mean the economic turning point, the confidence model turning point over here is going to be, you know, mark, okay, we're going to fall out of bed and Bitcoin's done. You know, I always kind of talk out of both sides of my mouth in terms of these types of things because we don't know what's going to happen. But I have been saying ever since I first, I think I made a video kind of around here and was saying, you know, this is going to be a turning point. In my mind, that this is, you know, we're either going to kind of come up here and just blow through it and go higher, or sorry, come up to this and then just kind of crap out, and that will be a massive turning point. But I think more likely this will mark a cycle low. We will have a counter trend rally in terms of this whole range through 2008. And I think we got to watch out for the turning point in August and September. Okay, guys? Like, that's really what I'm thinking is, you know, I'm going to be probably removing most of my position if we see a counter trend rally, especially if we see a lower low in momentum. So that's just one of the charts that I like and that I've kind of put together. But, you know, again, it's a lot of theory. It's not exactly like, is this definitely going to happen? But you have to understand that markets tend to move in very similar cycles. There's actually one that's even more similar now to this than the NASDAQ, and that is the gold market from back in the 80s. So, you know, when gold became a very, very popular commodity to hold, this was, it basically looked like this, came down, made new lows, and then ran to new highs. And I really do see that happening at the turn of this economic confidence model, because I don't think that necessarily the fear cycle is over. I think gold and Bitcoin and the dollar and the Dow will all rise in the face of this uncertainty. I know that doesn't make a lot of sense to a lot of people, but you know, I tend to believe the long-term predictions of Martin Armstrong, and also the fact that you know, he's been pretty much 100% right on gold so far, and you know, basically, I think that we should see gold and Bitcoin kind of move together in a sense. You know, not exactly, but as overall long-term trends, they're kind of similar assets, right? So so this is what I'm going to be watching for, and I think it would be absolutely fascinating to watch this play out. If we get a counter, kind of a pullback here, counter trend rally up, trap all the bulls, come back down, trap a tremendous amount of bears. This is what I've really been waiting for. I don't really think that, like, this was a very good buying opportunity, but for long-time buyers of Bitcoin, you got to wait for this W to come in, and then a pullback of this range was really what I was waiting for. And I think that should happen year-end, and then Bitcoin did the exact same thing where it just rallied at the beginning of this year. It loves to do that. You can see back here just rallying at the beginning of January. I don't know whether that's tax implications or something like that. I like to wait for the end of January because that's when the Chinese New Year is, and they have such sway in the market for Bitcoin because it's truly an international market. So that's one thing I want to talk about, and so let's also go to. I think I've got to load up. Hold on a second. All right, I got my Bitcoin markets happening here. Well, this is looking at the daily. Let's go to the weekly so we can get more of a long-term view of this, medium-term view. This is Bitcoin dominance, right? And you can see we busted past this high, which I was talking about before. This was a V-top. It got tested. Okay, now we're up here, and we're kind of flirting with these tops, right? On the weekly, the Bittrex markets look bad. I mean, there's just no way to slice it. There's no good way to slice this, guys. We are oversold on the Bitcoin on Bitcoin dominance, but I think it will take a little bit of time for this market to reverse. I mean, on the daily, you can kind of see that, momentum is coming back down. We have a little bit of a W coming in, especially on the shit coins. We're oversold. So on the daily, I could see us bouncing here, but then I think we need to retest and come back down. And it's just going to take a few more weeks or months for us to really see that come in the Bitcoin dominance. If we look at the total market cap, excluding Bitcoin, we look bullish. Let's go to the weekly first. So on the weekly, the altcoins are the same. They just look terrible in terms of Bitcoin, but in terms of US dollars, we do have the same kind of blow off top here. So I'm going to be setting my bids lower, I think, I think kind of in line with what I was thinking, which is we're going to come back, make a pretty big dip, rally back up, not make new highs, and then come back down hard. If you want to play that bounce on your altcoins in terms of US dollars, that's something that I may try to do. And probably make a decision based on what the market is giving me, and set my stops in case it just decides it wants to run away to the downside. But I'm thinking on the altcoins, I think we have probably something similar to Bitcoin, which is like, I don't know why it didn't just draw that, but here we go. Down, counter trending up, and then you jump, and then like that. It's kind of what I'm thinking. But, again, that's just speculation. We have to kind of see what the market gives us. On the daily, I said overall it is still looking fairly good. But I think that you want to look to buy on a pullback here, because this does look like an M-top, and things do kind of look like they're breaking down in terms of being overbought here. So I'm not feeling very great about the altcoin market right now in terms of BTC, in terms of USD. That doesn't mean I'm going to dump all of my altcoins right now, but I'll probably be letting go if we break through this area in terms of, Litecoin looks a lot like this, for example. If we break through this area, I'll probably, right over here, I think I'm going to be setting a stop, already have one, to kind of just let that go. And then if we come down, put in a W, and then we want to rally back up, maybe play that bounce. But really what I'm looking for is to probably release and look to buy down here at the low end of the range. Going to Bitcoin itself, that was my Bitstamp chart that I just showed you. Some bids there. Yeah, just want to show my Bittrex chart. Hold on. Whoops. Having a little trouble here, guys. I got different charts for what I want to show. All right. Yeah, this was my trade that I took on Bittrex. It was off the 12-hour chart. And you can see that we've got that nasty M confirmed. I took the trade, as you can see, up here around 11.6. It did a little bounce on me. I did not get stopped out. We head lower. It eventually confirmed. So I took it ahead of the W. And then I'm going to get paid off if we dip down here. And I think I took this trade because, or this target, we're right here at the top of value, and at the top of this kind of resistance point for the previous breakout. So I think I may have also taken that target based on some other data that I have, but I can't remember. But anyway, that's my target. Sticking to it. So we'll see if I'm right about that one. I did try to short, I think, up here, and got stopped out on both occasions. I did not lose a lot of money, thankfully, because I set my stops tight and obeyed them. And then, as I saw this coming in on the 12 hours, I said, you know what, this is pretty nice. This just looks like a blow off top to me. If we look on the weekly in terms of Bitcoin, I mean, look, this is a massive shooting star. Sorry about all that, guys. I should probably go back to the let's go back to our Coinbase chart. Oh, I've got this thing up here as well. So, massive shooting star on the weekly, incredibly bearish sign, right? We're playing out now, obviously, bearish tone, but this is just getting started. So this one just closed last night, and this one's just getting started. But yeah, so this is just absolutely massive shooting star. You can see I have resistance levels down here at 84.21. Would not be surprised to just come down, revisit these resistance levels, like I said, bounce back up and ultimately fail from August, September into the new year. You can see that we've been flashing overbought, and more importantly here on Coinbase, we did just barely. I don't think that momentum made a higher high. We'll see here. I would have to go back, get my numbers. Let's go back. So we got a high 607.36, 610. Oh, so on Coinbase we did make a slightly higher high on momentum. Not very convincing to me, but we did make a higher high, so it's not technically a divergence, but you can see from here, price made a much higher high, and momentum made kind of basically the same, right? So I'm not convinced that necessarily we will dump all the way down in straight Bitcoin fashion, right off this high, but I do think that don't get bullish. There's nothing very bullish about this chart right now, guys. Like, I'm not looking to buy here for the long term, right? And we spoke about in my last video, I'm definitely drawing reload zones. Let's see if I go back to the Bittrex chart just to get this a little bit cleaner. For long-term buying, I'm still looking. I gotta change this up. in between the 72 and 53.95 range or lower. Again, I really am looking probably for a test of this 50% range at sometime in the next couple of months. Right? I think on the last video I kind of concluded that here's your run here. 27 bars. Where should we look for Bitcoin to hit the 50%? Okay, a little bit later. Oops. I don't know how that just disappeared. But it did take us into about the end of September to come back here and at least hit the 50% rule. So, is that correct? I think that's 14. I don't know how it erased both of them. That was very weird. I don't know why it keeps doing that. It just keeps shutting off. So, something on my... Probably have to restart my my chart. But you can see here, from this low to this high is 28 bars. Then you go another 14. 28 plus 14 is 42. There you go. We're out into September to at least come back and touch the 50%. That's very odd. I must have a setting where it just kind of deletes it now. Oh well. So basically, here's our reload zone. That's what we have to be looking at for long-term buyers. If we don't come back down here and hit it right now, I'm not too concerned. If we bounce back up, I expect us to fail and come back down again. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Of course, hindsight's 20/20. We have absolutely no idea what's going to happen going further. Play your setups, and in terms of a setup right now, you can see we do have this confirmed. Whether or not you're going to pay, you play it based on wicks and tails or candle bodies. If we close below here, we definitely have a confirmed M on the daily, right? We have an M in OBV, we have an M in MACD, we have an M in all of our overbought indicators, and even right down here in the domino, which is the moving average script. So it is not looking bullish for Bitcoin right now. So don't be thinking, oh, well, this is a dip, let me buy it. If we come in here, like for the next couple of days, if we come down and, put in a W and confirm it, then you might be able to be thinking, okay, well, maybe I can go long here with a bot or something like that. But right now we're extremely bearish. Because I didn't see it on the daily a few days ago, but I kind of wanted to get in on the trade, so I saw it coming in on the 12-hour, and then if we look at the 4-hour, you can see that momentum is trying to turn back up here. Man, I'm having some serious troubles getting this open. Kind of still heading down, but if we take a turn here and start heading back up, you can see that the bearish bars are kind of going down, getting into oversold territory a little bit. So I don't think it's done going down for now. I just think that this rally to the downside might get exhausted sooner than later. I honestly think that we'll probably come down, hit my target, and maybe at that point we're going to be looking, fill in this huge hole in the volume profile, maybe bounce around here, hit the target, and then see where we're going to go from there. Recharge on Willie, and see if the momentum comes back. A little bit too early to tell. I don't really see a setup on the 4-hour right now, long or short. So that's not really giving me anything. But in terms of the daily, if you're wondering, I just made a bunch of money on this Bitcoin rally. Should I sell? When should I sell? Well, you have pretty much it's not a dream setup because you don't really have there's no real divergence here. We're coming off oversold. Yeah, I wouldn't, but you do have this market structure top, right? So could you let go of some? Yeah. I wouldn't fault you for doing that. Of course, no recommendations given here. We do not give financial advice. But this does look like a blow off top to me. If we look at this top, I mean, how similar does it look? Oh shit! I have to go to another chart to look at this, right? But the question is, just like how similar does it look to this? And the answer is quite similar. At least on the weekly there. I don't know if you drop down to daily, like what that's gonna look like. As you can see, down, up, and then you have this massive tail here that loves to get eaten, right? So we just came right down, filled that in. That's pretty, it's a little tighter. That's the only thing here is that this one's tighter, right? Which is why I think that this top is more like there is an M inside of it for kind of the shorter time frames, but it looks more like a V top to me that will probably play out, come down into this range, and then be tested, and then you'll see kind of the bigger top kind of come in. I don't know if I drew that correctly on the time frames that I've been talking about, but I don't, like I said, it's just a bit too tight for me. I think people will kind of get trapped up here. And maybe this is an altcoin rally as well, which I would be totally okay with. If we do get an altcoin rally in here, I'm probably going to be letting go a lot of my positions up top of this. I never let go of all of my positions because, if I'm wrong, just because we have a setup doesn't mean that we can't, this might work 70 or 80% of the time, but for 20 or 30% of the time, it's like, bye-bye, and never come back. So I don't want to lose my stake in the Bitcoin story just because I said, I had this very, very strong conviction. If I think that this is going to work 70 or 80% of the time, it makes sense that I might get rid of 70 or 80% of my portfolio and then keep the rest. You got to be thinking like that, for the long term. So, and crazy stuff happens all the time. Anyway, I just think it's ironic that I got a little notification for Salt Lending and you can't even trade that asset anymore because, I don't know, probably SEC issues, all that kind of good stuff. If we look at the major alts, just do this real quick for anybody who's interested. We're looking at a very similar situation here with this blow off top, and a lot of these alts are just going to look like this, right? In terms of US dollars, right? Just looking very toppy, and after this huge nosebleed rally. But what we have to be looking at more accurately is this. And you can see we broke down to these new lows here. So Litecoin not looking very good. What we want to look for is to come back down, put in the low off of a reload zone. If we draw a reload zone off of this, oh, that's fascinating. We did come down, tag 78.6, bounce right back up. To me, that doesn't look done, and we came right off of these lows right here, and you can see just how it puts in the W right off of that. But basically, this looks pretty dangerous to me. Come down to the 1 day, you can see we got a little bounce off of this oversold condition, but I just don't personally think that looks done to me. You never know. So if I take this range, let's see. We came down below value here, bounced back up. If we can accept back into value, maybe we'll head back down below. But if we crap out, I think we've got to kind of swim around in that range for a while, put in some market structure. To me, it doesn't look like a very juicy trade at the moment. If we look at XRP, let's see what on Bittrex. Flirting finally came back down. Let's see. On the weekly, it was just sitting up top here for the longest time. And, you know, also looking quite dangerous, but we do have an oversold signal on the weekly with momentum going up. And XRP likes to rally at like very strange times. So I'm not getting super bullish on it yet, but I'm also feeling like this it could come down, test this range, and then kind of head back. I mean, when we came back down here into value, we probably need to go back down. Yeah, I would say that for XRP, in terms of BTC, I'm going to be looking for it to come back down into this level, and then if it puts in a market structure, maybe be a bit more bullish on it. So I'm just really not feeling very confident about the alts right now. So you know, look for the names if you want to, but you know, a lot of them have broken down. I mean, one of them that I was feeling pretty good about for a while was the, you know, ETC, and then of course, you know, with this rally that happened, it just broke to new lows. And sometimes that happens. We had this weekly W come in, and Bitcoin rallied and said, sorry, no, but we do have, you know, look at this huge OBV divergence. So when will this play out? I don't know. That's why we take very, very small bets on our altcoins, right? You can kind of see here. We just went over Litecoin, dude. Did we look at Ethereum BTC? Ethereum's a great proxy to look at for altcoins because obviously this is one of the biggest ones. You can see it just flirting with this, but no structure coming in. And I think I put this in last week. This huge support and resistance level right here, where we had a high here, another low here, another low here, another low here, coming back down. But until I think Ethereum can kind of turn back versus Bitcoin, we're probably not going to see a altcoin run. But something's got to lead this space, whether it be Litecoin, Ethereum, or XRP. I don't really see any of the other altcoins being able to move this space per se. I don't even know, like, if we look at CoinMarketCap, I think Ethereum's still number 2. Yeah. You know, for a while there, XRP had really come above it. But, you know, you take these 4 into account, and I suppose you have to take Bitcoin Cash, but, like, Bitcoin Cash, is that both of them together? So you have to even ignore that. But I think this is like 80-90% of the market, right? So we really have to look at Ethereum to see if it's going to come back up. We are in a long-term reload zone. We obviously have hit major resistance levels here, but it's just not time. So if you're trying to time the market, then, you know, you have to wait for that structure to come in. We are at the point of control here. We did receive massive you know, the POC, we did receive massive support here. And then, you know, do we have to go down and test the bottom of, you know, the ultimate lows and kind of swim around here for a while? I don't know, but I hope not. But, you know, 80% of the time, if we accept back down into here, we're going to be visiting value low, and we haven't done that yet. At least not on Bittrex. I don't know if there's a larger time frame. I think that's one of the longest time frames. You can see we're kind of trying to fill in this notch here. The thing is, you don't have a ton of, there's not a ton of history on Ethereum. Oh yeah, that was that weird candle. You can't even take that into account. So, you know, I think for altcoins, the biggest one to look at in terms of real history would be Litecoin, right? So, and you know, we didn't come down and test the bottom of value on this either. It really put the W in on that 200 SMA. So I could see Litecoin coming back down here to like kind of the $50 mark or whatever. So, you know, I'm probably gonna be letting go of some of my Litecoin, or we'll get resistance at value high here, which is like about $80 or something like that. Again, maybe a bounce coming and then an ultimate low. All right, well, I've been talking for a really long time. I hope this gives you guys a great idea of the market's coming up. Hope this was great value, and we'll see how it all plays out. You know, again, you have to separate any kind of prognostications I have or theories that I have from a actual setup, right? So we only trade setups, and you know, risk reward levels. If you like some altcoins that are out there, just take really small bets. I'm gonna be holding my horses probably for a while on that, and I'm really you know, I've been very cautious about Bitcoin through this whole run, and I think that if you've made a profit, that's great, and you should probably think about taking profits soon. You know, and if we come back up and we lose the momentum, you know. Like if you're on Litecoin, for example, and you want to let some go here, and we come back down and come here and then retest, and you didn't let go of all of it, and momentum starts to slow down over here, you might be thinking about getting rid of some more before we head back down, because this will put in a big nasty M. So, all right, that's it for me. I'm just like kind of rambling now. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.